Sorry about technical difficulties. Welcome to Mr. Opera, home of the technical difficulties. You know, sometimes you're trying to get a whole bunch of things together, and you wind up having zero things together. I think it's like a big that's a big theme in singing as well. But anyway, yeah. So today we've got especially I guess a discussion. Hopefully a discussion. If anybody shows up to talk about it. And if you're here from Mr. Opera, welcome as always. And if you're here from This Is Opera, then I assure you that I am the real This Is Opera. That I do not, in fact, own the This Is Opera channel that you're currently watching This Is Opera videos on. And I'm not currently using said channel to do some counter programming against what I believe is an inherently destructive, foolhardy, and I don't know, I guess like a bit silly to me, quest to teach the world how to bring back the old school of singing opera by not being able to do anything remotely resembling the old school of singing opera, and simultaneously playing videos of people who used to be able to, while claiming that this is what you do, except you just have a smaller instrument. Anyway, but that's that. I mean, we don't need to talk about This Is Opera on the This Is Opera channel. Make sure my chats are connected here. Yes, they are. So, we're going to be talking about Fach. We're going to be talking about Fach because Tony Linke, one of our viewers, who I'm told will actually be coming on this show at some point. So anyway, he sent these clips of Greg Kunde singing different repertoire. Ostensibly, we're going to hear some lighter stuff and some heavier stuff that usually isn't sung by the same person. And then we have to give it to those who believe in Fach that this is not the same person at the same part of their life singing the same stuff. You know, so they might make a case that there's Fach, but you can change your Fach over time, and that just proves that Fach exists. Because how else could you change your Fach, right, if your Fach didn't exist? So let's listen to this. Tony is here. Oh my God, he's everywhere. Tony is everywhere. Oh my God, and now I didn't orient my fingers here. Okay, so I think this is the earlier Greg Kunde. Tony, do you have the you gonna make me look up what he's singing here before we get started, or can you tell us? And you know what? No. While you're there, I'm going to just on the Mr. Opera channel change these. I can't change them now. I have to make a mental note to change these latency settings. I have it on normal latency. And normal latency apparently means that I can't interact with you guys really in real time. Yeah. You guys can interact with each other in real time, I guess, and I'm seeing that. But there's this delay between when you make a comment and then when I see it, and etc. And I could turn all that down so it's more responsive, so that like we have more interaction. But anyway, so we're gonna watch Greg Kunde singing something and then singing something else. Let me look up what it is here. Do we get any volume? Can you guys hear anything? I don't get no volume here. No volume. Oh, here we go. This is unfortunately not the best picture. And what were we about to hear? We were about to hear, yeah, not opera singer's tongue in the wrong place. Not that. Come on, guys. What were we about to hear? You're gonna make me... I don't know. What are we listening to here, guys? Well, anyway, hopefully Tony's gonna tell us what we're listening to. Like the heaviest coordination possible, but we're not in neutral here, and we're not. I don't know about calling this leggero. But what was this first one? He's supposed to give us a high F in this. I'm trying to look it up. Okay. A tanto duol. It's a scene, an aria. Questa è mia reggia. A tanto duol. It's from Ascolto Padre Gemiti. Fernando Zentrenzari from Bellini's Bianca e Fernando. I don't know all about this. I don't know all. Yes, I don't know all about this because I don't know any of this. I don't know this piece at all. I've never heard this. I imagine if we could see, but look at this horrible video Tony gave us. No, just kidding, Tony. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. Ahoy, Petre. Zdar. Dasz si brko a pivo v parku? Okay. Okay, so let's listen here. Yeah, anyway, I was saying if we could see his mouth position, I'm thinking that we wouldn't see these extreme large openings with the high notes. More in the direction of these like smile positions that you'll often see tenors using. Okay. And that's a very covered, I guess, more in the overdrive curving direction. Right, but he's not trying to be... I mean, he's trying to be soft there. I'm saying, like, in general, it's more stretching of the vocal folds compared to, I don't know, well, like what we were hearing from Fischella, but it's, I've heard much lighter tenor singing in this repertoire, and I've heard tenors who are kind of doing more, I don't know, you could call it more French style, more like au contre, more like less metallic, more going towards falsetto as much as possible all the time. Wasn't it? This is that ending note. That's groovy. How's that cry quality to it? When I think in general, like if you're talking about vowel substitutions, which I like to call it for classical singing in general, you're not gonna do vowel modification for E. You're gonna do vowel substitution, and then probably you're gonna modify that. So you modified your vowel. I know why I'm getting the same. You know why I'm getting the same chat on both sides is because I've got the same chat on both sides. So I'm gonna. Hi, Aiden Phillips. Thanks for watching. Glad you're here. I don't have you up on the screen because I made a mistake here in my thing. So I'm gonna fix my thing, and then we should see Aiden here. So let's see. Yeah. All right. Yeah, now we got both chats here. So, all right. Oh, what the heck was I talking about? I'll put myself up here. Yeah, well, I lost my train of thought, so. But welcome, Aiden, Tony, Peter. Oh yeah, what I was talking about was that in general, the vowels U and E, as they're often spoken, do not really work all that well for making a whole lot of sound, singing in a concert hall with a loud orchestra and no amplification, etc., etc. I mean, that's not like the best. It's not the best thing, and the reason for it is typically you've got the first resonance, the first formant, and but therefore like all the resonances of the vocal tract are lowered to get these vowels going in the first place, and that will take shape visibly as some kind of very small mouth opening. So like ooh, ooh, or e, e. And because of that, these vowels don't work really well. Just because of that, they don't work well for making a big sound. And that's nothing fancy. It's just impedance matching. It's just matching the let's say how heavy the air is basically coming out of your vocal tract compared to the air around you isn't the same. One is higher impedance slightly than the other. And that means the air coming out of your vocal tract, although you could say it's very strong, let's call it too concentrated. And so you want some way to spread out its effect before you get out into the room. So for this transition from the actual vocal tract to the room, you want to have a more gradual transition. And that's going to give you better transfer of energy from one place to the other place. So no matter what it is that you've got going in there in your vocal tract, getting it out is going to work better with certain openings than it will with other openings. And that alone is making E and U really unfavorable for singing classical music with an orchestra. It's a different story, you know, if you're singing a little Schubert song in a, you know, salon, and there's 5 people and a little piano or guitar. So in order to get away from this E and U, you need to substitute. Some people say modify. I say go ahead and substitute. Go with a completely different vowel, and then you're going to modify that to sound like the one that you were going to try to sell. You've got the vowel you're using and the vowel you're selling, basically. And you can sell an E that was actually, to start with, fake and made out of either something like or something like U. And then you could even do some combination of the two, like but if you go with the approach to substituting your E vowel, which is what he's doing here, it tends to be sweeter, but weaker. Sweeter but weaker. Yeah, and it's also gonna be easier to sing. So, and it's incredibly useful coordination to have. So I'm not knocking it or anything. So you'll want to use it. Hey, Doventon, vowel. It's sort of, yeah. You know, actually, I was saying it to someone earlier that it's a vowel within a vowel, but we're not thinking that a vowel within a vowel is a real thing that's going on. It's just imaginary, and it's a procedure that you have going on. But yeah, it essentially does. It can come out to be like you're working with a vowel and then a vowel inside of that vowel. Yep. No, but in the end, what I was trying to say was that if you're going with a kind of approach, it's going to be harder to use, and it's going to be harder to sell it as E. But it's got the benefit of being louder, and it can be more powerful. So if you're playing your cards right, that's going to be better. And if you're using it's more mellow, and that's going to be easier to manage. And so if you use that and you play your cards right, that's going to be an advantage. And clever singers use both. They alternate between those two. It's hard to see, but you can kind of get the sense that now we're not doing extreme mouth openings. Right? The mouth opening is should we can say conservative? You can almost think of it like, well, you can literally think of it like if the vocal folds can stretch, then it can allow the jaw not to. And if you want to keep the vocal folds from stretching, then as you raise the pitch, basically you're going to have to keep up with it with something. And that's probably going to be the opening of the mouth, shortening the vocal tract, etc., until eventually you're going to run out of options. And you're going to have to do something new. And what he does to get past that is early stretching of the vocal folds. But what's important to point out is that he's not actually letting it go so far that he can't keep a metallic sound. I hear metal in this sound. I don't know. Tony Linka, you could maybe put your 2 cents in. You've got probably better ears than me. But this does not sound to me like falsettone or even like some kind of neutral that's not a falsetto. It sounds metallic to me. Let's hear it again. Yeah, reduced edge, and maybe the velum is open to get some of the density down without I don't know, almost like without overstretching. Like, it's like he keeps it. Something about it. It's a good TA engagement, but then maybe letting the nose open. Really fine singing. There's a little bit of I've heard singers be more nasty, so I don't know if this is smile position. I think he has a more round. I can't see. But I think this would be more round with the mouth. Yeah, there's some curbing vowels, but this high note I think is edge that he's singing. Let's hear it again. Might be in the overdrive direction, or like in the overdrivey curbing direction. I think curbing kind of has this relationship to overdrive. I don't know if that's a thing. Oh, sorry. I gotta back up a bit more. Okay. That last pitch was maybe curbing. That's edge. That's reduced density edge. Which okay, so Paul, there's like 2 versions of CVT, and as far as I know, there's still this other version, this more simplified version of CVT, and in that version, there is no reduced density edge. It's called curbing. So, yeah. But in the Tony's advanced, and I mean, obviously, I'm advanced. But wait, where's my? Okay, yeah, I'm so advanced. Wait, no, yeah. Well, I tried to do this filter so I can have. Anyway, all right, yeah. Anyway, sorry. Okay. Yeah, so foundational level CVT, I think that would be curbing, but I'm not sure. I believe so. But I hear the edge. Everything reduced is curving. Yeah. Yeah, and curbing is the everything reduced mode. So. That ending was maybe curbing, but I'm not sure. Could be just. Yeah, it could be. I think with curbing, you have this possibility for this crazy pressing, and you're never gonna get that in Edge. This like you press and press and press, and then at some point you're pressing more and getting less sound the more you press, and I think that's a curbing only thing. Density Edge again, I think. That? What about that pitch? I don't hear any metal. Maybe curving. That's both of those. Let's hear it again. That's a tough one. I don't know. I wish I had this chat a bit more. Maybe I should I don't know. Should be like oh, I know what I'll do. What happened? Okay. Yay! Oh, and that kills my camera every time. It really does. Kills the camera just every. I gotta stop using that. Man, that killed my camera. Let's see. Yep. Okay, 1 second, guys. I'm gonna start this camera back up. And I have to just not use that anymore. For some reason, it kills my camera. Some kind of hotkeys thing. Oh man. All right. Well, we can watch a bit more. I think I got audio here. So. Like linear pressing, I think. So for people checking in who don't know these terms that you hear us using, let's see if I can get my camera settled down here. Oh geez, it was just trying to. Okay. See, there we go. I'm back. I mean, I wasn't going anywhere. Yeah, that reduced overdrive though, Tony. I think that's actually more prominent maybe than we were thinking. I don't know. I've been finding that the overdrive edge thing really maybe is more obvious in opera than in contemporary singing, because they seem to really go with with posture things that you got to do. And with especially with, I would say, chest expansion or like front of the body expansion versus back of the body expansion. Seems to be that back of the body expansion goes with overdrive and front of the body expansion goes with edge. And maybe a lot of times there's some sorting out to do based on that. Oh yeah, you want to try to do that? Do you have hang on. All right, Tony, I'll send you a private message. We can try this. We can try. We're gonna try to zoom in. That's what I was working on all day, guys. That's why I'm such a mess today. I was trying to get the Zoom capabilities going. So I'll send. I'm gonna see. Oh. Okay, so I just got a link from Tony here. But then also, Tony, make it so I can just call you. Okay, I'm going to do this first. Yeah, you guys talk amongst yourselves. Sorry. Well, I set this up. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So I gotta join a chat here. Home. Join. Oh, I see the problem. I need to go like this. Okay, so this should take me into the meeting. All right. Oh, there's Tony. I'll join with computer audio. Can you hear me, Tony?
Yep.
All right. Let's see if the audience can hear Tony. Let's see. I'll bring. Oh, that's supposed to be Tony. Let's see.
I I have a bit of a latency, so I don't see it yet.
Oh, you don't see yet. Okay, wait. Oh yeah, and you can't see. Let's see.
So I'm just gonna try to be in the middle of my.
Oh no, here we go. Wait, no. You should be able to see now.
Yeah.
Can you see?
Yeah.
There's the whole scene now.
So,
Let's put you there. All right. Well, I can make you. I can make you bigger. There. Now you're bigger. Boop.
good. I'll try to be in the middle of the circle. So.
Yeah. Wait. And let's. Let's get your levels. Let's see. Can you guys hear Tony?
1, 2, 3.
Oh, maybe that's too high. Maybe you're clipping a bit. Okay, guys, this is Tony Linke. He's a famous YouTube teacher. Yeah, and well, you'll be learning all about Tony. He knows like a whole bunch of stuff about a whole bunch of stuff. So that's why we're interested in Tony. Also his personality. But anyway.
Also my boobs.
Yes, and if he says something we don't like, we can take him away, and I'll be like, "Hey, where's Tony?" So anyway.
So, do we want to do a very short CVT introduction?
Yeah, why don't you do that?
Okay, so we have the category of metal in the sound, and I think people talk about metallic sounds even without knowing CVT. So if I do hey something like this, there's a certain ping or squillo or metal in the sound. And if I do
Chiaroscuro.
hey, there's none there. Um, so in CVT they call the non-metallic sound neutral. That's kind of a biased thing to do, but we'll just go with it. And when I sing in neutral in pop, it sounds like hey, hey, hey. It's not very intense. It could also be and then if you do it in a classical way with a darker color, that's still neutral. It's neutral, right? And it's not very loud compared to if you add metal. So there's different ways of adding metal. The most obvious one would be adding a lot of twang, so very nasty sound. In pop, it sounds a bit like this. They call that edge mode. If I try to do that in a darker color, probably Philippe can give better demonstrations in a minute, but
I gotta stop you there, Tony. I mean, who could do better?
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, go on.
So what I was trying to do was to show you different vowels in edge, because if I have enough twang, I should have relative freedom to move. I can't do the super close stuff, as Philippe said, but I can do all these, and that would be edge mode, and that's much louder. By the way, is my microphone clipping? I hope it's not clipping.
You're not clipping on my end, and but I'm not. I'm trying to do a show and produce it at the same time, so maybe I'm missing something.
Yeah.
And I got a new audio monitor plugin for OBS, so I'm hoping things are a bit better than they've been.
So you guys just complain whenever something's clipping.
Yeah. And if
when I
my
wanted to
microphone
that
still
reference
sounds bad,
distance.
then let me know.
So we could also get some metal by going into a yelly kind of style, which they call overdrive. Kind of like the guitar effect. It's like, whoa, hey! It's the pop version that they use for belting. And Philippe can probably give a good demo for the classical thing. I'm not too good at opera drive.
Yeah, just 1 second, Tony. Are you getting an echo on your end?
I'm not getting an echo of you, but you're getting my echo because I'm hearing a bit of you. Otherwise, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I could try to switch on the whole headphone thing, but it's
yeah. I don't know.
Tricky. Is the echo bad?
Is it like echo or just reverb, Tiber? Well, he's gonna take a bit to answer. But anyway, you sound good on my end, so I don't know. Must be something beyond our.
I think it's my sound being reflected from your speakers or vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah. So for the opera overdrive, I tend to say, think of like Tarzan or something, to think of these more like primal sounds, and so like, and you start with that and you work from there, and usually it's more this breathe into the back cue seems to help. And if I'm going higher, then I usually want to expand more in the back. So, and you'll usually see this instead of a singer kind of winding up with their back arched and looking up at the sky, you'll see them kind of looking down or tucking the chin or something, and tends to go more with like oh and ah, and you're not going to hear it as much. Like you're not going to hear like an a kind of sound from this. And I think when people go into this and they want to sing an they tend to modify it towards like kind of thing. So that's typical. Whereas like with the edge way, I don't hear that so much, that they modify it towards or e doesn't get modified towards I guess. It goes towards instead. So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So I think the echo is coming from your speakers because you're listening to me too loudly. Either you have headphones or you can turn me a bit down.
Yeah. Well, I got headphones I could use, or I could just turn you down. You sounded so good. I wanted to hear.
Thank you. But don't turn me down for the audience. Only for you.
Yeah. No, I'm just turning down my my system speakers. But I also have
this feels like a sound check.
Yeah. No, I can also put on I could put on headphones, I guess.
That would solve it probably.
And now I can hear you super well. Yeah. So there should be no echo now.
1, 2, 3, test. Shall I compare thee to the summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough instance to shake the whole.
Oh.
Let's see.
Send it down here. Okay. Yeah, that should be pretty. That should be pretty good now.
I'm gonna try to give a pop curbing demo. So curbing would be a reduced metallic note. They used to call it half metallic, but it's more like a spectrum, where you have a bit of the buzzy, ringy sound, but it's not as much as an overdrive or even edge. You probably know it as cry or whinge or whine or whatever if you have browsed other methods of singing that use these terms, like so you can kind of do all vowels, but they all get modified towards just this very neutral, lazy thing in pop anyways. So if I want to mix and pop without going to falsetto, I'm gonna do it in curbing. So this has a bit of ring, but it's not as ringy as if I
that had extra.
If I did it in edge.
Now you're. I don't know if you're clipping on your end. You're clipping on my end, so it sounds like edge.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do it just once again, facing away from the mic. But so now you know it's loud. So that's curbing.
I turned you down a bit. Right? I turned you down a bit, but it's still clipping a bit.
Okay, I'm gonna go back 30 centimeters. Like that?
And
now I'm gonna do it with use edge, so you hear the difference. So that one has even more than
that works well on my end. And I don't know
again. I'm
sounds like you're in a cathedral. I don't know. On my end, it that's maddening, because on my end it sounds really normal.
That's weird.
And I'm hearing you through OBS, so
maybe it's not a cathedral thing, but an echo again. So maybe your headphones actually giving out a bit of noise.
Let me try. Okay, so what if I'm gonna mute. So I'm gonna mute myself, and you go ahead, and then let's see if we have an echo.
Okay. So this is gonna be the third attempt at demoing pop curbing. Oh! So there's a bit of in there, but not a lot. Now if I do reduced edge, which has the same kind of stretch, but more twang and more brighter forward vowels, let us say. It's much louder. And maybe even that last demo clipped, but I don't care. You just hear that's loud. Maybe we can give opera demos of curbing and reduced edge.
Yeah. See, I'll have to step away and turn away, because my voice is just too big. Yeah. So the best for curbing, let me see if I can think of something good. Well, I guess would be just a similar kind of pattern. So for curbing, the best cue, I guess, that I've heard, or the most common one, is to put a cry into the voice. And then also you hear sing everything through an ooh kind of thing is another cue. So maybe you can watch the stream in the past and see yourself what kind of reverb this is. Yeah, we'll do that and try to figure out how to improve the sound. Yeah, so una furtiva lagrima. When it sounds like essentially the guy's about to cry, he's curbing. Another thing with curbing is, I think, with tenors anyway, this is related to the idea of big singing should be effortless, even though that's bullshit. When you compare trying to make a lot of sound in curbing to trying to make a lot of sound in edge and overdrive, then edge and overdrive are comparatively effortless to that situation of trying to pump out the sound in curbing. So if I was more going to the overdrive direction, then I would not change, I guess, that much about the vowels there, but definitely I would try to open the mouth a lot more. I guess this ooh would be out of reach now. So now I can't go ooh, which I can in curbing. Ooh, ooh. I guess it's not ooh, ooh isn't going to get me curbing, but just a little bit more open than that. Ooh, ooh. I can do that.
By the way, just one thing. I noticed a very interesting thing on Saturday when I saw Martin Müller as Caravadossi.
Caravadossi?
Is it called
Cavaradossi? No, you just reversed the. Never mind. You said Caravadossi instead of Cavaradossi. Yeah, Caravadossi instead of Cavaradossi. No.
I don't hear the difference even.
Cavaradossi instead of
Cavaradossi.
Yeah, instead of Caravadossi. Anyway.
Oh yeah. So
Ossifer.
Toxa is the name of the opera.
Yeah, right? Toxa. Yes, Ossifer. I was not. We could take these.
That's why you call it a toxic relationship, I think.
Yes, it's toxic.
So anyway, what I heard a lot from him in the arias, which are, I mean it's a big late romantic opera, but it's the singing, I think, does have some lyricism to it, right? So what he's sometimes doing is he's starting on a metallic note.
Yeah.
And then the offset, not the onset, but the end of the note, for a split second is a neutral. So it's can't do it very well, but it sounds like oh, and there's this half of a second that is it's not super quiet, but it's quieter than the main part of the
Yeah,
note.
yeah.
So it's kind of like smooth
Yeah.
fade out, and it's brighter. So it's going from oh dark sound to just a neutral sound color neutral.
And then is the mouth closing or opening for that?
The mouth.
That's what I'd like to know. Like, so what's he's doing? What he's doing with the formants there?
I think closing more.
It's closing more. Okay. Interesting.
So kind of the thing you did, it reminded me of what he did.
Right.
When you went from curbing ooh to neutral ooh.
Well, he might actually be going through a brief moment of curbing for his offset.
Yeah, but
extremely
I think
quickly.
Yeah,
But like
it's always hard for me to differentiate curbing and reduced edge, or even like fuller edge on closed vowels like ooh, oh. I can do it on
right.
E because curbing is never really E. Curbing is always this kind of
what I like to think about is that when you add ooh to something, you tame it.
Yeah.
And curbing is another word for taming. So that other than this mode that they call curbing, I think whenever you're rounding, covering, mixing ooh, mixing o into something, etc., that kind of thing, you're taming it. You might not go into the curbing mode, but you are curbing it. in a sense. What so
would you say,
I owed you an overdrive. So just like so this ooh, this is a good one because the ooh can't be done really in overdrive and in edge. But it's definitely in the word. It's definitely in the phrase. So I don't need these headphones, do I?
Not when I'm not speaking.
No, I don't think the echo had anything to do with the stuff on my end anyway. I don't think it was feedback echo. Yeah.
Let's see.
So the ooh if you want to go towards, let's say, opera overdrive or opera drive or this more primal kind of Tarzan, not noble kind of thing, goes more towards O. So ooh becomes like oh kind of thing. So oh no, and it's not the best choice maybe for this phrase, but yeah, it is what it is. It's pretty freaking loud. It's probably loud. I imagine it's probably louder than the opera edge, I guess, version of ooh. So the opera edge version of ooh, instead of going towards o, it goes towards this kind of. Okay, so if you I have to kind of imagine. I have to paint a picture for this. Imagine you have a peanut, and you take that peanut and you put it in the back of your tongue, and then you're gonna hold that peanut between the tongue and the pharynx, I guess, or like the back of your throat. So this behind the soft palate kind of area. If you were to put that, which I call area of interest 4. So if you put, or say between 4 and 5, you put the peanut in that area and think of some girl from the valley going, ew, 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 ew. So your tongue is like kind of really high and back. Ew. And if you need to, you might want to like lift the upper lips. Ew. Oh, nah. You get this. And now it's not ooh. Yeah. So if you go ooh, you had the larynx too high. So take the back of your tongue and shove the larynx down with it. Essentially, well, that's not how it works, but yeah. Well, so you get the tongue down and compressed, I guess, so that it can constrict area of interest number 3 and help get you into edge. So I think this is the type 1 nonlinear interaction, or aka the back pressure, which, if I'm now understanding correctly, it's usable even when you don't get metal out of it. You still get this glottal pulse declination rate, maximum goes up or whatever. So you with the one part of your tongue, you're oh ah 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 ah. So it's not raising it up like in regular edge where you go eh eh eh. You take that whole thing, and I guess including the jaw, just move it all down. Ah 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 ah, and then you can start retracting the tongue into what I call area of interest number 4, and you can get the sound darker and darker. You take that far enough, and now you've used the back of your tongue, the very back of your tongue, to constrict and compress area of interest number 3. You've used kind of the middle of your tongue to get up into area of interest number 4. Now you've cleared out a whole bunch of space from area of interest number 5, which was further up into the mouth opening. Now, the further that gets cleared, the more you lower the second formant. So now you manage to get the first and second formant close enough that it's something like ooh, but kind of based on this ooh. And I suppose yeah. So if it's more if it's coming out too much like that, put the peanut further forward in your mouth, and now try to put it in that same spot. Yeah, and then eventually you've got this.
The peanut metaphor. That's what CVT used for finding distortion.
Well, yeah, and I think the only difference would be, and they're finding that in Edge, aren't they? They're in Edge often with this.
They're just going a step further.
Yeah,
basically.
well,
crushing
let's see if I can. Ooh, no, that's distortion, yeah.
Oh,
no. With the little, I think I had a little rattle in there, didn't I? No.
Yeah. Should we teaser that we're maybe going to talk about ruffle effects in opera?
Well, yeah, but we should let's see if this is any of this is actually getting through what we're saying. Looks like no one. We cleared the room. No one has anything to say anymore.
People watching though.
They're watching with their jaws agape. Their fingers are frozen. Yeah, we've said so much that they don't know what to say. Well, okay. So Tibert,
I'm gonna mute myself while you review the stuff.
Well, no, I just want to know, because Tibert's here, so he's great. Keep going. But what I want to know is because I know Tibert in particular had some confusion and questions about metal in the first place, and when is it metal and what isn't. I think today was great because actually we heard not only metallic and not metallic, but then we heard you fiddling around and getting a lot of distortion on your louder tones, and I think we also got to hear how clipping sounds, or distortion, that's what clipping is, guys, sounds an awful lot like metal, and whole lot of people could get confused about that. But anyway, So I don't know if people are getting it, because I guess it's not the easiest. It's like some of these color science topics, I guess.
Yeah, it's also I think it's also hard, even for people who know the difference, distinguishing metal from twang. So if I do a twangy neutral and you don't know how loud exactly it is compared to other sounds I make, you could mistake it for edge.
And do you think that has to do with actual similarities, or do you think it has to do with associations?
I think the similarity is that the same frequency range is being boosted roughly from twang metal.
Right.
It's just I think the twang has a broader kind of spectrum. It's more like the singer's formant cluster thing. And metal is not as broad, but it boosts it. So if it's very loud in that kind of range, it's probably metallic, it's probably edge. If you hear a bit of the buzz, but it's not as nasty, more like it's probably overdrive or curving if it's less. And if you have a bit of there, but it's not very intense, that's neutral. That's neutral, right?
Right. So I hope that helps, Paul. But to me, it's also that one of the reasons, maybe in addition to that people get confused is because of the whole necessary twang thing, where if they're not hearing any twang, they're not going to hear any metal. But
yeah,
just because
I think necessary twang is closure.
What's that?
I think the way I've heard lots of CVT people use necessary twang, they just mean vocal fold closure.
Well, right. Well, yeah.
Not being veiled, basically.
A lot of times classical teachers talk about vocal fold closure and they mean twang.
Yeah.
So that's funny.
Totally. Maybe I could demo one last thing. I could start on different vowels and then introduce metal.
Yeah, let's do that.
And then depending
I'll
on
make
what
it a bit
vowel
bigger
I
here. Okay, so what's this demo going to be? So I'm going to try to start on different vowels and different ranges in neutral, so without metal, and then introduce metal. Okay.
Depending on what vowel I'm starting with, how much twang I have, and what range it is, it's going to come out as different modes, and I'm going to name them.
Okay.
So if we do like German this one I had to do an edge because I have no other modes available in this low range that are similar to the shape of neutral So I had to introduce twang first and then lean into it so it became metallic. By the way, if you disagree about any of this, just interrupt me, right?
No, I got them turned off. Oh, you can probably see on your end on Zoom, but
but you have to interrupt me.
Oh, okay, I'll interrupt you. Yeah, but I've got them. I'm just hiding them for a second, just so we can pay attention.
Yeah.
To what you're saying.
So, if I do the same shape at a higher range, more options might become available to me. So I could that's the shape, right? I could make it more open. So now it sounds like that's neutral. Now, I could either go to edge again, like I did in low range. That's edge. It's very nasty. I could also go to overdrive and modify kind of towards awe.
I'm just
So it's kind of like now it didn't really sound like anymore, but it was close enough to work in context. So that was overdrive. It didn't have as much twang, but it had a bit of buzz to it. I'm gonna do it just once again so you can listen for it. should sound a bit metallic. Hopefully. I'm doing this into a SM7B, by the way, which doesn't pick up a lot of treble. So in the room, it'd probably be a bit more piercing. But if you can hear it with this one, that's great. I could also try to go towards curbing in that high range. But I'd have to close the mouth more. So I'm not gonna start on the super open thing, because that's gonna make it too obvious. I'm gonna start it. And it's a bit pressy. What do you think about it, Philippe?
I mean, that's, to me, curbing is the pressing mode. So
yeah. So it's not very metallic.
No,
but it's also not a very high range yet.
Yeah,
it was like it was an E4. I could just do it once on G.
I'm just watching and enjoying not having to work here.
Good.
And like let's see what the. Okay, so there's some questions though.
Yeah.
So is overdrive just closer to and edge is closer to and so that's gonna bring up centered vowels, I guess. And
I wouldn't say so. I would say that overdrive is close to anything that sounds yelly, and they usually transcribe it as O, so OH. I'm gonna do it into the chat. Or it's possible in overdrive too. Like that. That's overdrive. And theoretically also an in-between thing, like a rounded which they don't have it in the app yet, but they're gonna have it at some point because it's correct. So that would be overdrive vowels.
And this rounded
rounded
for some reason. Oh, sorry, never mind. I shouldn't. Yeah. Go on.
Yeah. And in edge you can do, to put it simply, anything fronted. Even though that's kind of a metaphoric thing, but you can do because that's fronted. So edge shares that vowel with overdrive. It's just that an overdrive sounds more yelly, and an edge sounds more nasty. You could do It's not really it's more like cat, right? You could do so kind of like the bit vowel. In the low range, you could also kind of afford E, but it's not gonna be as metallic. So I guess we're gonna ignore that for operatic context. You
and maybe
kind of thing too.
Maybe if everyone else is getting this echo, that's what I would like to know. Or if it's only I'm gonna mute again.
Mute yourself?
Yeah, I'm gonna mute myself, and then we'll see if that helps at all.
Yeah. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Hey! You get an echo.
Okay, can you hear me there?
I can hear you.
Okay, and now
what do you think the echo is?
Yeah, so nothing seems to help. So, and I think we have a good. I'll have to maybe look it up. Let's see if the other Paul, are you getting this? And Peter's watching from the beginning. From Nigeria. Let me see if there's some other settings I could look into. But I guess keep going with presenting this, because
yeah. So you're just gonna hear the demos with a bit of echo. That's cool. At least I think you should hear the onset should sound clear because they can't have any echo yet. Just one demo of the thing at like G4, which I guess for most tenors would be where they start covering. So it's like if I do that's neutral. If I do if I go towards really bright right now, but that would be edge. If I go towards again, OH. Oh! I'm closing it. I'm diphthonging it so you hear it, but it's basically if I don't do the diphthong, it works as an ah. That's overdrive. If I want to go towards curbing, now I basically relax the corners of my mouth a bit, and it should go towards And if I go higher, the curbing sound is more typical. But it's kind of hard doing open stuff in curbing, so it's always kind of compromised. Now, quick demos for the other vowels. If I do neutral to overdrive. Neutral to edge. Should sound more nasty than overdrive. I can't really do in curbing. I can do a more closed covered version of it. It's more of an E. You'd probably call it a substitution.
There's probably something that some people are wondering, because we kind of just introduced CVT to a bunch of classical people. Is like, isn't this a little bit complicated? And like, are you really thinking about curbing and overdrive and these things when you're singing? Like are you and isn't that restrictive? Like, okay, now I'm going to do edge, so now everything is going to be sounding like only these vowels, and you're stuck with that. So that's probably, they're wondering things along those lines, I am sure. Because
so I am thinking about modes. At least when I'm working on songs. Not necessarily when I'm performing them. Even then, I might think about the more complicated parts. Or I might not analyze them in that moment because I already did that. But I might think, okay, I want to do this in overdrive, and I open the mouth. Or I might what I personally think, because I make sad boy indie rock, so I sit on stage with a microphone and an acoustic guitar. I don't have to be very loud, but I want to sound chesty. What I'm doing a lot is I'm trying to go to the limits of neutral without getting metallic. So I'm doing a lot of stuff like "So Sally can wait," and it sounds a bit like I'm going for overdrive, but it's not. It's neutral.
Mm-hmm.
It's very close to the border. So what I have to think is okay, go for these shapes, but don't actually
right.
have the vocal folds come together in a metallic way. So have more airflow, be more wasteful,
right?
Less aggressive, less held back, whatever the actual vowel is.
So like a bunch of cues opera singers are using to try to get the opposite results. Because that's funny, because a lot of people looking for like less airflow are using cues for more airflow. So it's always still just funny when I hear someone using those cues, but it's like totally appropriate, and it's it's totally logical and makes sense.
People often miss or conflate air pressure and airflow.
Right.
Which in neutral, they are kind of independent. You could have more of both, or less of both, or more and less of either. Like you could switch it. And my like the simplified version that I tell my students is that in metallic modes, more pressure means less airflow in tendency. So it's more oppositional there.
Right. Well, and it's logical. I mean, if there's less airflow, if there's more pressure, how did it get to be higher if the air was coming out?
And by the way, there's a question. CVT, whether CVT is more descriptive or prescriptive.
Yes.
And I think CVT is very descriptive in the sense that they might tell you which vowels and shapes to go for because they saw what people do that works. So they're giving they're trying to describe every option, and they're giving you guidelines for what works, but they're not telling you this one is the right option. What they're saying is this one is going to be more efficient if you're going for this sound, so they call it the center of the mode. And then if you diverge from that, they call it the margin of the mode. So if I do overdrive, but then I want to go towards I want my mouth shape to be very close for some reason. Maybe articulating quickly or whatever. So instead of I just sound like oh, and I still get the overdrive sound, but it's not a typical overdrive shape anymore. Oh, you can hear it's unstable. It wants to break up a bit. Oh, even if it doesn't, it feels kind of effortful. Like I'm not getting enough sound out of my effort. So that would be overdrive, but it's not a very centered overdrive. It's not as efficient anymore. They don't mean that in a judgy way. They just say, well, you want to do it for hours, then maybe have like a safer home base. But in its nature and its philosophy, I think it's descriptive, not prescriptive.
They do, yeah. I would agree, and I think they do have some prescriptions, but like Tibera was saying, it's generally once you've introduced a goal, and it's like, well, this follows from what you've decided you want to do. So it's like they're not dictating how you should sound, but they are, if you're saying that, like, oh, I want to sound like I have my mouth open with my mouth closed. Well, it's like, unfortunately, when you close your mouth, it sounds like you closed your mouth. And I guess there are some closed mouth positions that sound a whole lot more open than you would expect, but, something's always going to give them away. And
I had this fellow student that she's a pop singer, but she when you don't see her, you're thinking she's doing super loud belts because she's singing into a microphone, so you don't know how loud it is. But basically, what you're hearing is whoa! You're hearing this kind of thing. Maybe now I fucked up the sound because I had this filter here. It's basically hey, oh! That's what you hear. What she's doing is ventriloquist position, basically.
Yeah.
Whoa! And right now I was trying to stay on the overdrive side. She's actually not in overdrive. She's going to neutral. I can't do it as well as her.
Yeah.
She's doing
right.
This thing somehow manages to stabilize it and has a microphone. And it sounds like the fullest belt ever. It's really interesting.
But it's there's also that who's the ventriloquist? I can't remember. She was a little kid, and she got a little bit famous for a little while. She was doing it on America's Got Talent, and she was doing this ventriloquism belting, and it does sound incredibly open for someone ventriloquizing, but still, there's a line where there's effects you're gonna get from opening your mouth, and you can't get them and not get them at the same time. I guess
you're not gonna get the actual volume, and you're not gonna get as much buzz.
Yeah, and
not with as little work.
Yeah, and I think also the sound will change in some perceptible way. So it's like, it's just that the one thing can't be itself and then not itself at the same time. It's like,
yeah.
So if you asked for, well, I want to, Well, I'll just use the stuff I do as an example. You know, it's like, I want to sing I want to sing this Samson part and not destroy myself. And then if someone says, oh, but also I want my face to look completely relaxed the whole time and not to ever show my teeth or something like that. Like they read Garcia along with me on the live stream and decided Garcia was right. After all, we should never show our teeth or have trumpet lips or whatever when we sing. And it's like, well, once you said that you want to sing this Samson and you want to not wreck yourself, now I have to tell you, like, you need to open your mouth. You just need to.
Or you need to be Klaus Florian Vogt and be loud.
Yeah, I guess, but is his mouth all that closed?
It depends on the valve. The open valves, he's open. The closed valves, he's closed.
That's amazing.
He's like my imitation of him. Although mine is not as loud. My imitation is, and I'm not thinking about my mouth shape. I'm just thinking about the sound, and you can watch the mouth. In fernem Land wunderbar eure Schnitte liegt eine Burg, die man. So he's opening up.
Yeah. So what do you figure is making all the sound? What do you figure is making all the sound? Just maybe exceptional vocal folds or something.
I think he's using a lot of pressure and quite a lot of flow at the same time. So he's probably pushing into what I just did. Instead of la, he's doing stuff like that. And I would get tired if I did that for a while. And probably still I'm not half as loud as him, but you can do that.
There must be something exceptional about him. I wouldn't expect most people using that strategy to have as good a time. He
does get a bit of creaking. Apparently not only in the performance I saw, but regularly after like 3 hours. Which it's not bad. He doesn't get freaked out by it. Apparently, he just ignores it. It's I enjoy it. I'm a rock musician.
Right.
It's like nice.
Right.
But so there is the airflow can't be too fast if there's creaking. But I guess it's much faster than if you sang it even curving. Or more metallic stuff. And I think you can also hear him if you search him on YouTube. You can hear that he's not doing very long phrases. So he's like no, breathing a lot.
I guess we'll have to cue that up. But we should also we could preview that we're gonna do some. This is actually the test run for something else. I mean, we'll see if we can fix the echo. And I'm going to see if there's echo on the recording of this. That's what's going to be interesting because I'm recording this onto my hard drive.
I'm also going to watch back just as soon as this is over.
Yeah.
And then maybe find out what it is.
Yeah, so that'll be helpful to know. But why don't you talk a bit about that? And then are we going to watch the rest of this
we have to watch the Kunde stuff.
Yeah, and I can do. I don't know if you want. I can do effects, but only on my side.
What I can do is.
Yep.
I can.
I don't have the sound effects to go with this, but this was my Well, chili pepper.
I can either blur the background, or I can.
Okay. Yeah.
I can do this, I think.
If things get really intense, I can take us there.
I can beam myself into different, but that's just assumed stuff. So I'm just gonna give a little teaser for the vocal effects thing.
Okay. Teaser alert! Teaser alert! Teaser alert! Teaser! Okay.
Can you say teaser again?
Yes. Teaser alert! Teaser alert! Teaser!
I'm I'm a criminal. I regularly, illegally bootleg opera performances.
Oh,
I
why are
even
you?
sometimes pay more money, so I sit in the front and I get the better sound with less reverb. So that's what I do whenever I go to opera. And whenever I go to opera, I also get very excited whenever there's vocal effects in there, like stuff you'd expect more in rock and metal contexts. Whenever someone's on stage, no, 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 doing stuff like that, I'm very glad that I'm criminally bootlegging the whole thing. And I collected all these, and I guess we could go through them and not just categorize them. That's what I like to do. I think that's not as interesting to most people, but it's more interesting to see what the exact use of vocal effects tells us about the coordination people are doing, because you can't do all vocal effects in all coordinations equally well. And sometimes, if we're not sure, is that overdrive, is that edge, is that metallic at all, the sound of the effect will give us info about it. At least that's what I know from pop and rock. There's no reason it should be different in classical. And we can also talk about which ones are obviously intentional and which ones don't seem as intentional. As for example, the Klaus Florian folk creaking and other people, by the way. Yeah,
And
so
I've got a track to submit to you for that.
yeah. I think I know
Because,
which one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we can do at some point. We don't have a date yet, I think, unless we just spontaneously pick it up. But we don't have
No, but I mean, with my channel,
Um,
so it's not popular enough that scheduling ahead makes a big
Yeah.
difference. It's most of your views are gonna be in the rewatches anyway. So
Yeah.
so we just have to actually be good, and then maybe people will care about us enough that they want us to schedule more.
Nice. Okay. Let's watch some
Yeah,
Puritani.
let's watch some of this. Make you a bit smaller. I don't know why it's not. It's supposed to move you, to a nice and neat location, and it's not supposed to make me slightly larger than you. I look like the singing success guy. Like, oh, yeah, okay. Let me watch movies with Tony here. Wait, no, and also I'm gonna do this. Wait, where's? Sorry, I have to like there. Okay. Okay, so I'll make myself smaller, and then we can watch.
I don't think I hear sound.
You don't hear sound. Ah, well, I hear sound. Let's see. Wait.
At least not awfully loud sound.
No, but how do I send it to? 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. I can do this. I can send it to you by. Okay, I'll add this audio monitor filter, and we send it to this fake cable A. Let's see if I still hear it. You got it? Okay. So wait, let me just make sure that this is wait. Set this up right here, because the volume should be linked and the mute should be linked. Okay. So now this should be at an appropriate volume. he does. I think one of the ways he bridges with this reduced density edge and neutral is with nasality. And I'm not saying he sounds nasal. That's asinine. I just mean that the velum is open as a way to introduce this, I guess, anti-resonance or whatever into the vocal tract to tame the sound. But it's an interesting way to tame the sound because it doesn't also round or darken the sound. It kind of makes us think it's brighter. So let's.
I hear more closed shapes. At least on the phrase we heard right now, I hear more ooh direction than in the more dramatic stuff.
So do you think that's curbing?
Yeah, I'd say so. But yeah. It's hard to hear again because the treble is not really there.
Right.
So it might be, but it doesn't. It sounds less edgy than what I heard before to me.
Mm. Shall I say, the very, very typical, I call it a vowel substitution, not a modification, where, and I say that further you can modify these substituted vowels to make them sound more like the original, but that literally this E is substituted and you have U instead. Like, I don't know, müde. Like basically that vowel. And that seems to work. If you have the U from edge, you can play with kind of thinking of that ooh as the equivalent of the ooh that you would normally use to get to So, I mean, a common way to explain what is that you mixed oo and e. So, this would be, it's not literal, but I guess a figurative way to explain what can happen is that you can smear things around by, let's say, instead of mixing ooh into everything that comes from your lips, you're mixing an ooh that comes from your tongue, which is non-scientific kind of artistic language. But what do you hear there? This high note.
So if I translate it to pop, I get curbing, but then he has more twang. So it might be reduced edge.
Right.
But
so,
you maybe call it overdrive. I don't know.
No, well, I was gonna say reduced density edge, but then he's got the velum open, but he's shaped his velum kind of in a round way, I guess, that rounds out the sound, interestingly. And that makes it a bit, it's almost like a dark nasality.
Yeah, I have to try.
Kind of, no, I don't have it. Kind of thing.
So that was nasal.
I think it's, the nasality would help to reduce the density of it, and
it feels very easy doing it in a nasal way. It's not as loud.
Yeah, but it could, I could be totally off. I think the lack of treble, like you mentioned, makes it a little hard to hear what's going on. But we can say
the most important thing about this is the very high stuff. So
that it's very high. And also, I would mention that I haven't heard anyone be successful with fuller density stuff in this tessitura. And I don't know that it's about so much the range as it is about the tessitura, where it lies, where the center of the phrase is, and around at what pitch level you have to do most of your articulation. I think is what. So should we move on to the next track? Because I think people want to see the.
you can. If you don't want to do the whole thing, you can skip to the last third. I think there's gonna be higher stuff in there.
Okay, is it fast section cavaletta? That was interesting actually, because you hear there's the weakness of this kind of approach. So he's got a bunch of stuff to articulate that lower in his voice, and it's completely disappeared. So this strategy really depends on the pitches being higher, I think. For live orchestra kind of thing. And also a sensitive orchestra really helps.
I think on the more dramatic stuff, which I don't remember any specific phrase right now, but on the more dramatic stuff, he also has some lower stuff that I think is fuller compared to his leggero repertoire.
Right. It's not. It makes I mean, if you think about it, like, how can you be stretching the vocal folds like that, even if he's resisting the stretch? Like, he's got to be stretching them more than he would be for fuller density stuff. And then to expect them to behave like morning vocal folds, you know, for the low stuff doesn't make any sense. But I've noticed the opposite effect is that if you start singing higher and higher tessitura, eventually, even if you're really trying to prevent the stretch just from articulation and stuff, you're going to stretch out. And then the low range gets weaker. You do the same thing, and you get weaker low range than if you hadn't done that. And you wait like 10, 15 minutes, and it comes back about 80%. So it seems like there's just it's just the reality of it. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Like, if you're gonna be really stretching out your vocal folds, well, now they're stretched.
Yeah. Would you say though that he's stretching more in low range in this video than in the other one?
Well, let's look at the other one. But to me, it's like, it's possible. It's totally possible for a singer to use both approaches, but it's unlikely for them to be able to rapidly switch between the two.
And also, I don't think he's going to extremes. He's never losing metal completely, but he's also never going fully metallic or fuller density.
Right. Yeah.
But it's I think the low notes in the was it Otello?
Let's hear.
What was it?
Let's hear the rest of this.
Yeah.
I don't remember what you.
But the first thing we saw, which I guess at least was more dramatic repertoire. I think I heard low notes. They didn't completely get lost.
Right.
Acoustically.
I'm not sure. It's just something that I wanted to mention, but it's also like singing higher tessitura stuff in general tends to raise the voice up. So yeah. Anyway, it's unfortunately used as like a sign that someone's a leggero after all. To me, it's just a sign that that's the stuff they're singing. Anyway. ventriloquist position almost for the high part.
So that would be
Paul's
curbing.
saying- Curbing.
If it's closed mouth, I'd say curbing.
Paul's saying he thinks also people consciously change their voices to sing different repertoire. Corelli post 1960, for example. Paul, I think people changed their voices for different roles. I mean, to some extent. I mean, I do anyway, or like I just let it happen. But when I start looking at a role, that role gets a voice, and I don't know. Maybe other people can't hear it, but I can. So I think that's a good idea, though, changing your voice to sing different repertoire. Unfortunately, that's taught that it's not a good thing. I think Marcel would agree with a lot of this stuff. A lot more than maybe some of the other clips we see.
Yeah.
Reduced density edge. Yeah.
Sounded more open than a ventriloquist.
Yeah. That's not the whole closed thing, I don't think. And I don't think the whole closing the mouth thing goes with reduced density edge either.
No. I think closing the mouth would I would classify stuff as curbing if it has a closed mouth but metal.
Right. That makes sense to me. We are agreed. I can go like wait, I can do this. 1 second. No,
Okay.
but that's not. Wait, no, I wouldn't do that to someone. Only behind.
Okay,
the-
let's wait for the actual high notes now.
Oh no, it's still not high. Oh god. I hear falsetto, like a rock
Yeah.
falsetto.
I hear
Completely.
falsetto too, but
Axl Rose.
I hear I hear that it's perfectly connected to the metallic stuff. So it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So some of these notes have to be reduced neutral. Not the F,
Right.
but I think some of them there has to be a bridge between the curbing or reduced edge and the falsetto. I don't think you can just go there right away. I think you have to go through reducing the metal to neutral without going to falsetto yet. So that's
Yeah.
the impressive thing. It's not impressive to do this, but it's impressive to connect
To
it.
connect it, to actually make it make sense. Yeah. No, and I think a lot of times there's maybe some armchair opera singers who underestimate the make it make sense step and what that's going to do to all of their strategies, if you will.
Yeah.
I think that's remarkable.
I think what's also impressive is that you don't usually have people sing in falsetto in that range and sound like that. So you have countertenors doing something like that, and you have sopranos either doing something similar to countertenors or beefing it up more by using twang, but it never sounds tenoral unless you have someone like him or other Majaro people who somehow managed to take something up while sounding operatic, not rock.
Yeah. And keep the acting going too. And,
Yeah.
And that's all live. So that's so Spires is definitely going to be, now that we're questioning Fach, I guess we're going to have to do Spires. But let's hear that again He used some H's there.
Yeah,
To help get the air moving, I guess. To change the mode, I guess. Yeah. Remarkable though. You can almost, I think the. I wonder if he's sticking his tongue out for that. I imagine, yeah.
Can we listen to it once again and then break down every syllable, every pitch? So what I hear is yeah. I hear reduced potential.
So that was the first one.
And then I hear neutral. But I don't hear falsetto until the last pitch. So it's like
yeah.
Like 3 steps.
Yeah, okay. No, I got you there.
And the last note. The last note is falsetto too, and it actually has some creaking on it. Not as noisy, but it's very subtle.
That's not curbing. Oh, opera drive?
No. I have trouble distinguishing opera drive from opera edge, but I hear reduced metal. Definitely.
But you can do that in opera drive.
Yeah.
That was not advisable.
I think this one. I think that's not falsetto.
It's not falsetto, and it's also not nice.
Yeah.
The other ones were cool. The other ones were really cool, but this one is not cool.
It sounds a bit poppy. To me, it sounds fine. It just doesn't sound very classical. Like, it's like this thing.
Paul heard the thread of metal at the top, but I don't, Paul. I think falsetto at the top, but I think the note before there. Okay, here's some. It's not falsetto. I don't know if there's metal, but it's not falsetto.
I think the F is falsetto. There's a certain hollowness to the sound, even though it's tenor roll, it sounds more hollow. The E flat to me, I'd say it's neutral, but it's not falsetto. So right. we didn't go over that, but
twang,
you could have
neutral.
Definitely. So like in lower range, you can hear very well the difference between hey, twang neutral without holding back anything. So that's fuller neutral. That's what people like Klaus Florian Vogt are doing. You could have reduced neutral, which is kind of adding the cry, going close to curbing a reduced edge, but without metal. So it's like hey.
Right.
It's much quieter. And I think that's what he's doing up there at the E flat. It's not falsetto. Falsetto would be there's a hollowness to it. So he has that on the F. But the E flat to me sounds it sounds kind of like this thing.
And interesting which coordination element or whatever isn't at all present or even touched or used is any of the knödel. None. which is it's no, it's that and that's really interesting, and I guess that is what helps make him more edgy, more more edgy singing, and probably also why he was able to career wise get a chance to do other stuff. If he had been more,
I wonder how loud he is.
Me too, but I guess we can't know because we just got recordings. But I can turn it up.
I will know, but not very soon. I wonder because he's not doing like super dramatic stuff in the dramatic repertoire. He's just singing it slightly less leggero. But apparently it works. It doesn't sound like he's getting drowned by the orchestra, and I also don't think they're taming the orchestra too much for that stuff. So apparently it works, and it doesn't sound.
You know, you didn't always have this distinction where people who use some reduced density are leggero, and in order to be a lyric tenor, you have to do everything in fuller density, or in order, or in order to be spinto, whatever. And if you look at like early recordings, for instance, there's a lot more overlap in Fach, if you will. But like, who's this guy that's always going after Corelli? With the hyphenated name, this other tenor. But it's a tenor with a lighter sound, and they're able to sing some of the same repertoire. And then you look at like Fernando De Lucia, who was Enrico Caruso's biggest rival, and it's a much lighter density. It's like a much lighter way of approaching the sound overall. So
Was it, by the way, was that just one video all along? Because I don't remember what exactly I sent to you.
Of Kunde?
Yeah.
It's this one that I just switched to.
So that's the more dramatic thing. Let's listen for the notes.
What is it? I didn't write down what it was.
I think it should be Otello.
Otello?
Even though it's weird that it's a piano thing. I don't know what exactly it said.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
Neplať nesmysl. Mrkni jak ušetřit na kivikom lomen.
The Pavarotti vibes for this part of the range, for this part of the voice, and the articulation as well.
He's alternating between neutral and edge, I think.
Yeah.
I think the more accentuated stuff is on the edge side, and also like there was a little distortion there, which tells me that moment was edge. No. overdrive?
I'm not sure if it is or if it's linear pressing actually.
Yeah.
Old
But could the posture be opera drive because he has this kind of
posture is more up in the opera drive direction with this flexion going on.
It's always hard to tell on short impulsive notes.
Maybe more the opera drive thing. That's metallic. No?
I think the onsets are always neutral, and then he grows into it. This phrase, he started neutral,
Yeah.
went to edge, pulled back, went in again, so he's crescendoing all the time.
The mouth opening, I think, too, for the crescendo, to set the volume. That went to edge, no, or overdrive?
Yeah.
Huh. No, still not the definitely not brightening things in the way that he was when he was younger. So that now, I don't know, it wants to go more in the opera drive direction, I guess.
I think
this isn't a huge, I wouldn't say these are huge coordinations so far.
No, it's also like I only very quickly search for the videos to send them to your mail. There should be some orchestral stuff on YouTube, but
Okay.
I think it could get a bit bigger in this one.
Yeah, we could look through for some other ones too to see.
We can, but one thing I think I've read somewhere that there was one year where he sang both the leggero thing and the dramatic thing. I don't know if it was actual cello, but it seems like it's not just an age thing where he switched Fachs like 2 decades later or so. I think he did different things at the same time also. There was an overlap.
And I would.
So I could imagine it's not he's switching sound color between the roles.
Yeah, and I would expect, like, for instance, you could get him to sing the way he sang before in this first clip, and then if he wanted to sing this, he would say something like, "Well, just give me 10 minutes," something like that.
Yeah.
Just giving the the tissues like the time to physically go back to more like the original elasticity. I could be wrong. Maybe he's just, that good. But then also it's worth noting that, like, we're not hearing someone who's doing I don't know, something like along the lines of Juan Diego Flores and then switching you know, prominently or noticeably to something like Mario Del Monaco or Franco Corelli or something like that. So we're not seeing that, but I don't know that that's a matter of like, yes, there is this whole Fach thing, and if you're this light lyric, that's kind of the end of it, or if you're a spinto, that's kind of the end of it. I think it comes down to like how many hours are there in the day that you're getting to be world class at all these skill sets that are not actually the same. Yeah, but
Okay,
this is a little bit.
Tibet says there's gonna be bigger stuff in this video.
Yeah, let's fast forward a bit, because you know this is gonna build. That's the opera drive there. Thing.
Yeah. The E. This one.
I think. And that's more density than what he was doing before in a similar range. And probably bigger. Well, unfortunately, we don't see the mouth. And then you figure out how to where you can get your tongue and twang to get out of that. So if I get if I just use the tongue, I'm only going to get as far as It's when I add the twang that I get and I think he's working with something like that. He's got some of that, the lower lip pull down. But yeah.
What more do you hear?
I was hoping you wouldn't. Is this the opera drive? I don't know.
There's a question in the chat which is kind of related to this thing. What are we listening for when we listen for density?
Oh, as far as I know, what density is how relatively stretched the vocal folds are, but I could be wrong. That's the way I think.
I think it's correct, but how do we hear that? What do you listen for?
How do I even describe that?
I have a description.
It's a feeling of thickness, but that's subjective.
I don't know. My thing is I listen for the cry thing. If there's like I could sing Twinkle Twinkle like that, and it's kind of like a dramatic phrasing where bum, 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 bum. So that's fuller density. If I have Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, this kind of thing, which is whiny. That to me goes into the direction of reduced density, or at least if I go higher with that, it will be reduced. Would you agree?
Yes, but that doesn't explain what it is that I'm actually listening for. That's just now I share that experience with you, and subjectively I can, yes, agree that those demonstrations are those, but before, for instance...
I listen for the onset and offsets.
Right, but when you talked about metal, for instance, versus twang, you were able to talk about the like amplitude versus just the frequency range and everything. What exactly are we talking about as far as?
I think it's the thing that if you watch the waveform, just the basic waveform in Audacity, whatever, you'd see in more reduced stuff, you'd see swelling. So you'd see the
Right.
middle of the syllable is biggest,
Is that the
loudest.
spectral roll-off thing? Maybe?
No, I don't mean I don't mean the spectrum, just the. Can I share screen very quickly?
Yeah, I think so. It's your Skype.
You can just.
Oh, but I don't know if you won't be very big. Let's see.
No, it doesn't have to be very big. I'm gonna make it small. I'm gonna
put
make
it in the
fit,
middle of the screen.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to make it fit right there. Even a bit more to the right. Okay. Now, if I record just short phrases, I'm gonna do what I think is fuller edge versus reduced edge. Fuller edge. Twinkle, twinkle! This kind of direction. It's very loud. You see, first thing is clipping, but also you see the beginning is accentuated. The beginning is louder than the end of the syllable. And if I do if I do longer notes, fuck, it's too loud. So you have these. It's kind of like a stairway. Like this one not really. This one was off center, but you always have
turn yourself up now, because now you're hard to hear.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So what you see, I hope you heard the demo. So it was you have these accents anytime I switch the pitch, and you can kind of see it here how the beginning is always a jump, an increase in volume. And if I do more reduced edge, twinkle twinkle little star. First off, it's not as loud. It doesn't clip as much. Second thing is you see the middle of the note is loudest. So this one. You see that? Yeah. This one grows. This one starts with the consonant, so it has a strong beginning, but it's like you can see a little swelling here. You can see swelling here. So that's more typical of reduced stuff, and I think I've heard you talk about lyric versus dramatic phrasing at some point. Where lyric phrasing always has that, and dramatic more that.
Right.
So that makes sense to me.
Okay. For me, like, as far as I know, there is that definition that's like what is it that you're actually hearing in their density concept, and it's that to get a certain pitch, all other things being equal, what you need is a certain frequency. And the way the vocal folds work isn't like a guitar string. They work by interrupting the flow at a certain frequency, and that gives you your pitch. But there is more than one way to get that particular frequency. You could use short, fat vocal folds with a lot of tension on them, and then use just a lot of pressure, and you'll wind up getting that frequency to go higher. And then if you wanted to get a different sound and you wanted the same frequency though, you could not resist stretching out the vocal folds so much. Instead, you would stretch them out. But the thing is that the tissues they're made of are elastic. It's like rubber band. And that tissue winds up making tension of its own. And now you adjust the pressure and you get the same the same frequency, but you're getting it with a different pressure and with the vocal folds at a different length. They're longer and they're more kind of rubbery. So you're getting these big, what they call excursions. So think of the vocal folds touching in the middle and then opening to let air pass through. Well, there's nothing that says how far away they're allowed to go in order to get a particular frequency. They only have to open so many times per second. So when we're saying, well, there's less density, what we're hearing is the difference, at least in theory, in how thick the vocal folds are relative to how thick they could be for what you're doing. So I'm not sure that you're really comparing like actual thicknesses and saying that this thickness is density X. And then if you notice in Complete Vocal Technique materials, they never give a specific value for density. It's always this subjective fuller or reduced. And that's to let you know that there is like some grounding in physical reality for what density is, but it's not like we're able to pick a number and say this is your density for this. We can say it's like fuller, it's reduced, and that's basically, as far as I know, it's relative to what could be, and not relative to what could be, shall we say, in a different mode or like in a different world. Yeah. So that's as far as I understand it. But the way I actually learned to identify it was just because I got shown a bunch of examples. I could hear that this density thing they were talking about was like in common between the different examples I was shown. And then I also had the experiences of changing density myself. So a lot of it's like I imagine what it would be like to sing that. And it's like, how much would my vocal folds be resisting? Something like that.
I have another thing concerning the cry association, which of course kind of subjective, but you can say it's not cry,
Yeah.
cry,
Tiberi
kind of cried,
asked,
and
by
then you
the
have
way,
you have
asked a question about that, if in case if you look in
yeah
the chat.
I am
About
typing in
crying.
the chat a bit.
He said asked if it's a kind of holding back while you're
yeah.
answering.
If I'd say it's actually the other way around in a way. If you hold back, it will sound more whiny. We associate that with crying because I guess when we're sad, we tend to stretch the vocal fold a bit more. So it's like a chicken and egg question.
Yeah.
But definitely, if you hear cry, you're not gonna have full density. That's a sign you probably have stretched vocal folds, and it's not always easy to say whether this actually sounds whiny or not. But if it does sound whiny to you, it's reduced density. And I noticed something yesterday when you reviewed the masterclass. And what's he called? Fisichella? Fischiella. So
Caravadosi.
Toxa. So when he went for like this one, he didn't have any crying. It wasn't like that. Very aggressive.
Yeah.
And Andrew Owens. So that to me, of course you can look at the mouth shape. You can see the mouth is smaller in the curving version. The vowel sounds more close and all these things. But first and foremost, what I think what even non-singers could tell you is one sounds aggressive, one sounds sad.
Yeah.
In tendency. So that's what I listen for in density. And then Joey Pye asked what the point
Fisichella.
of
I guess we
comparing
got it wrong.
density.
Fisichella. I
Yeah,
always
yeah.
reverse the E in these, so I'm it's like
Fisichella.
Caravadosi. Fisichella.
And I'm not good at Italian, so I don't know when exactly I pronounce C
I guess, yeah.
as
Fisichella.
Kella,
I guess.
Kella.
Yeah. And there was a question about density, about whether it has to do with health or musical or just a sound preference?
Who wants to answer first?
I can answer that. Yes. No. um, it really depends, but generally, I think the fuller the density, the safer it is. But
I would
that
add.
depends. That depends on what you're actually doing. So if you're not actually, yeah. But all other things being equal, if I take two strategies and they're both viable, the fuller density one is going to work better under more circumstances, different kind of stress circumstances, life circumstances, etc. And that's because the vocal folds don't have to go as far, and they don't have to stretch as much, and it doesn't depend on the tissues being able to make this mucosal wave, and it doesn't have to be healthy in the first place to get the sound to work. And to me, it's less irritating, if you will. So that's my take on that.
Yeah. So I'd say from a pop perspective, there's no health difference really. But in a pop context, I usually don't have to be heard acoustically. If I'm busking on the street without a microphone, I will agree with Philippe that curbing is not a good idea, or that reduced density in general. I can only really afford for high notes that are going to